Good evening, everyone. It's now 6:04 p.m. and I officially call to order the 76th annual meeting of members of Homer Electric Association. My name is Dan Furlong. I have the honor of serving as your board president. On behalf of the entire board and staff, thank you for being here tonight. Whether you're a long-term member or this is your first meeting, we're grateful that you're part of our cooperative. We'll start our meeting, and if you'd please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, and remain standing for the national anthem. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And this evening, we're honored to share a special performance by the Soldotna High School Choir. Thank you for your wonderful performance. Before we get started, we have a quick safety note because safety is always top priority at Homer Electric. Please take a moment to locate the emergency exits. There's one to your left and there's one to your right. As a courtesy to those around you, if you please silence your cell phones at this time. I'd like to invite our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Rob Montgomery, to give the official report on the member attendance and confirm whether a quorum is present. Rob? Yep. There you are. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan. I am pleased to report that as of 5:45 p.m., we had 84 members registered and present, and that a quorum has been established.
Thank you, Rob. Next on our agenda is a notice of meeting. You'll find the official notice on page 2 of your annual meeting packet. For those attending virtually, reviewing later, the full packet is also available on the annual meeting page of our Homer Electric website. To keep things moving along, may I have a motion from the floor to dispense with the reading of the notice of meeting? You can do that by raising your little card of a motion. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor, please raise your orange voter card. Any opposed, raise the same. The motion carries. The reading of the notice of meetings is dispensed with. Next, we're going to move to the adoption of last year's annual meeting minutes from May 1st, 2025. May I have a motion from the floor to dispense with the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented? We have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor, please raise your orange card. Any opposed, raise the same. The motion carries. The annual minutes from our May 1st, 2025 meeting are hereby adopted. Before we continue, I want to remind everyone, if you have not cast your vote in the 2026 election, please do so now. Voting and registration in the lobby will close promptly at 6:30 p.m., and we want every member's voice to be heard. Homer Electric is governed by a 9-member board. Each director is elected by you, the members, and serves a staggered 3-year term, ensuring balanced representation from each of our 3 election districts. Serving on the board is a serious commitment. It takes time, flexibility, and a lot of patience. Our directors are dedicated to protecting a cooperative's financial health, its operations, and most importantly, the rights of all of our members. As I read each name, I'll ask each director to please stand. You'll also see their photo displayed on the screen. And we'll start with District 1, Mike Chenault. Mike is a retired legislator, longest serving Speaker of the House of Representatives. And at our board meetings, we still call him Mr. Speaker. Next, we have our Secretary Treasurer, Mr. Jim Duffield. Jim is a CPA and a local business owner. And Jim is from District 1 also. From District 3, Director Louis Flora. Louis is a Bristol Bay commercial fisherman and also works in state government. And we have from District 2, Dan Green. Dan is a general contractor and developer and a lifelong Alaskan. And then we have Director Jim Levine. Jim Levine is unable to attend tonight. This would have been his last meeting. He's served his 9 consecutive years, and before that, I think overall he was a board member for approximately 16 years. He really did a good job for the folks down in the Homer area. Next, we have from District 3, Aaron McKittrick. Aaron's a writer and an energy researcher, and she lives on the Southern District in Seldovia. Next, we have Deputy Secretary Wayne Ogle. Wayne is a Coast Guard Academy graduate, Coast Guard retired officer, past Public Works Director in Bethel, past Public Works Director in Kenai, and I think he's retired now, right? Yeah, okay. Then we have our Vice President of the Homer Electric Board is Robert Wall. Robert is a geologist and oil field consultant, and Robert told me the other day that he's developed over 500 operating wells in his career. Before we move on, I want to introduce 2 key members of our Homer Electric team. First, we have our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Brad Janorski. And Brad is the longest serving CEO on the rail belt and I believe in Alaska. And he's well known nationally for some of the utility boards that he's served on over the years. And he's been with HEA for 22 years. It's going strong. Thank you, Brad. Next, we have our HEA General Counsel, Jessica Spooler. And where's Jessica at? Oh, there you are. The light's in my eyes, I'm sorry. She does a great job for HEA, And one of my pet peeves about our utility business is all the regulations that we have to deal with. And she's a fighter for HEA, and she spends a lot of time at the RCA and does a wonderful job for not only HEA, but all of you too. She protects your interests. So thank you, Jess. Now, before we introduce our 2026 board candidates, I'd like to take a moment to recognize a few special guests that we have with us tonight. I apologize in advance if we've missed someone. It's not intentional. First, we have a young lady named Miss Shara DeVold. She's Miss Alaska Teen. And Sarah, I have the light in my eyes, so I can't see where you're at, but thank you for representing Alaska. Tonight with us, we have Mr. Ed Oberts. Ed was a past president of Homer Electric for several years and a board member for a lot of years and contributed a lot. And Ed, wherever you're at. And we also have in our audience tonight a gentleman I want to recognize. He's had a lot of events, but that's Merrill Sikorsky. And Merrill has led the Caring for the Kenai for, I believe, 37 years. He's at all the important good things that are happening on the Kenai Peninsula and reporting on the radio and taking pictures. And he's been just a community asset. And I want to welcome you to our HEA board meeting, Merrill. Again, if I miss anybody, it's Cindy Glassmaker's fault. She brought me the list. Now we move to the important part of tonight's meeting, the introduction of candidates running for Homer Electric Board of Directors. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the candidates running for Homer Electric Board of Directors for the 2026 election. This year, 6 candidates have been nominated by petition to run, and each candidate had the opportunity to provide a short video introduction to help provide you, our members, with additional information during the election process. As I introduce each candidate's name, I'd ask that you please stand so we can recognize you. Once your video starts to play, you may sit down. And so in District 1, which includes Kenai, Nikiski, and parts of Soldotna, I'd like to welcome incumbent Jim Duffield, candidate District 1.
Hello, Homer Electric District 1. I'm Jim Duffield. I'm running for Board of Directors for District 1, and I've been on the board. You've elected me to represent you for 2 terms already, and I would like to represent you one more term, and then we'll call it quits. It's been a very interesting time. We've had a lot of difficulties in power generation as far as people trying to get us to make bad decisions for the wrong reasons. And we have, as a board, evaluated very well every opportunity. And we had committed to a couple of different things through IPPs, and then they were unable to perform. We are still evaluating a number of good opportunities. We've held costs consistent. If the gas pipeline comes into being, we should see a dramatic reduction in our cost. Would ask that everyone support that, as I do. And I hope that you will elect me to represent you one more time on Homer Electric's Board of Directors. I've been the Secretary Treasurer every term, and it's been a great honor. And I'm here to serve you. You can call me or talk to me anytime. Usually at JMJ Tax Relief right over here in Kenai. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Duffield. Next, please welcome Patrick Parker, candidate District 1. There's Patrick is over on this side.
Hello, everyone. My name is Patrick Parker, and I'm running for the HEA Board of Directors representing District 1. I grew up here on the Kenai Peninsula and have been part of this community for over 30 years. My career has taken me through several industries, including work in our local electrical field, oil and gas, and now software engineering, with many years at our school district. That experience has given me a broad perspective on energy, technology, and the importance of reliable infrastructure for our communities. I'm running because I believe HEA has an opportunity to take a more proactive approach to strengthening and diversifying our energy grid. My background in both the energy sector and data-driven technologies allows me to bring a practical, analytical approach to the challenges HEA faces. Energy costs are rising, and the decisions we make today will shape the affordability of power on the peninsula for decades to come. As a board member, I'll advocate for the responsible planning, greater local energy ownership, and solutions that stabilize costs for our members. Thank you for your time, and please remember to vote after April 3rd.
Thank you, Patrick. Lastly, District 3, which includes south of Kasilof to the south of Kachemak Bay. Please welcome our first candidate in District 3, Mr. Peter Krimp. Peter, there he is, back in this
Hi,
section.
I'm Peter Krimp, and I'm running for Homer Electric Board. I'm a 44-year resident of Alaska and former deputy director of Alaska Energy Authority with a long experience in energy project planning and development. I've been a ratepayer in Homer, Anchorage, Fairbanks, and Dillingham, where my family and I run a Bristol Bay SetNet operation. Cook Inlet natural gas has provided almost 90% of Homer Electric's energy for decades, but it is dwindling. Now, plans are being made to import liquefied natural gas from outside, subjecting us to higher prices and less local control. Meanwhile, potential for using zero fuel cost local energy resources, hydro, wind, solar, has increased as technologies develop and become less expensive. And at the same time, development continues on other resources like geothermal and tidal. I think my knowledge and experience can contribute to this cooperative. If elected, I will stay laser focused on reliable and affordable energy for Homer Electric ratepayers, keeping future costs down by harnessing our local energy resources in a cost-effective and responsible way, and being transparent and responsive to our ratepayers. Please vote for me after April 3 by paper or online. Thanks.
Next, our candidate in District 3 is Mr. Bob Day. And Bob, where's you at? Somewhere. There he is, back here.
Hello, my name is Bob Day. I'm approaching 50 years here in Alaska. In those 50 years, I've worked for the electric utility on the rail belt. 29 years up in Anchorage for ML&P, almost 20 years here at HEA. I know how the electrical system works. I want to use that experience to benefit all of you, the members. I also pay an electric bill, and being the engineer that I am, I took the total cost of the bill and divided by the kWh and came up with a 31.89 cents per kWh. Call it 32 cents. Electricity and electrical service are expensive, and I promise with your vote, I'll do my best to use my experience to help control the rise in the cost of electrical service. The basic electrical rate on my bill is listed at 17 cents per kWh, so the bill is effectively doubled by all the add-ons with taxes, regulatory fees, and the others. So it's not all on HEA. I promise to do what I can to help control costs if you will provide me with your vote. The reliability of the electrical system is equally important. Electrical service that's not reliable is pretty poor electrical service, and I promise to do what I can to help improve and maintain reliability of the electrical service for HEA members. There are big issues ahead with generating power, transmitting power, and how HEA interacts with the rest of the world. We must expand our horizons and embrace renewables. I am currently installing solar panels at my shop in Homer to see if they are effective. I will report on the installation in the future. I cannot help you all without your vote, so please vote for Bob Day for HEA Board.
Next, we're going to move to District 2, which includes the area of Soldotna, Sterling, Kasilof, Funny River, Central Peninsula. Representing District 2, incumbent Dan Green.
Good afternoon, HEA members. My name is Dan Green, and I'm running for a second term on the HEA board representing District 2. For the past 3 years, I've had the opportunity to serve as your HEA representative. I've been focused on providing practical oversight and making fiscally responsible decisions with you, the ratepayer, always in mind. We're all experiencing the ongoing increase in the cost of power, and unfortunately, that trend is not going away. Every decision we make must be evaluated through the lens of cost, reliability, and long-term impact. Minimizing unnecessary cost to members is not optional, it's essential. I support renewable energy, but I believe it must be approached with common sense. Renewable projects should be responsibly implemented, not pursued simply because they sound good on paper. That doesn't mean I oppose renewables, quite the opposite, in fact. I'm committed to the responsible implementation of renewable power generation when and only when it's cost-effective, reliable, and truly benefits the membership. If re-elected, I will continue to represent the members by providing detailed oversight of power supply decisions and major investments. My focus will remain on reliability, affordability, and making sure every decision delivers real value to the people we serve. I would appreciate your support and your vote, which will allow me to continue serving District 2. Thank you.
Also representing District 2 is, please welcome Mr. Mitch Michaud. Mitch, there he's way back there in the back.
Hello, my name is Mitch Michaud, and I'm running for District 2 for HCA Board, the Greater Soldotna and Sterling areas. I live in Ridgeway for over 25 years, and I've worked as a forester for 40 years, assisting private landowners from Maine to Africa, and in Alaska from Cape to Fort Yukon. I have seen a gambit of power generation along my life journey. Like planting trees, what you do today will eventually pay off in time. Increasing consumption does not solve our future problems, but must be balanced with conservation and the wise use of electrical power and generation. We, the consumers, need to be responsible, and HEA needs to be trusted. We both need to look many years into the future. I have been a community volunteer for most of my life since my high school days, and including today. I currently serve on various boards such as PCHS, Kenai Watershed Forum, and KDLL Public Radio, and a few state and national resource boards. I'm also an active member of the local professional society, where I was inducted as an SAF Fellow last year, a national award for lifelong commitment to forestry in the United States, an accomplishment which requires showing up, speaking up, being steadfast, and leading by example. This is the commitment that I will bring to HEA on behalf of its co-op members. HEA needs to be proactive in diversifying its energy portfolio and expand local energy alternatives. I'm looking forward to being your representative on the HEA board. Again, my name is Mitch Michaud, and I thank you.
On behalf of Homer Electric Board, our staff, and all of the members, I want to thank each and every candidate for taking an active interest in the future direction of our cooperative. So let's give all of those wonderful candidates a nice hand. My book that I'm reading here, looking at it, tells me I have to look at the time now. So 6:28 according to my phone. So now it's 6:28, and this is your final reminder for the call of the vote. If you have not cast your ballot in the 2026 board elections, please do so now. Registration and voting in the lobby will close promptly at 6:30 p.m., so don't miss your chance to participate. I'd also like to ask our election support staff to please report to the green room as soon as possible, which is over here. Thank you. One of the seven core principles of our 7 core principles of the cooperative is the concern for our community. In Homer Electric, we take the principle to heart. We are proud to be stakeholders in the community we serve, and through our community outreach programs, we focus on student achievement, safety awareness, leadership development, and community engagement. At this time, I'd like to invite Miss Mary Bowe, Homer Electric's public relations strategist, to join me on stage to help present the 2026 Safety Poster Contest Awards and scholarships. Mary, where are you? There you are.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, Dan. So in my role, I usually am the one who is telling you why your power is out, but today I also get to be the one to tell you about my favorite part of HEA, and that is our community outreach programs and all the amazing ways we get to impact the youth in our community and some returning students as well. So I am going to first tell you about our safety poster contest, as Dan mentioned. Our contest is for 3rd and 4th grade students across our service territory. And students are asked to use their creativity to illustrate an important electrical safety message, engaging not only students, but also their parents and educators as well. This year, we received over 30 entries and had various schools participate from Sterling to Homer. The safety poster contest is judged in 3 different categories, so we'll have 3 winners, and those categories include the best safety message, the most creative safety message, and the most humorous safety message. So we will now recognize our winners in all these categories, and I know they are all in attendance, so when I call your name, if you can just stand up and we'll give you a round of applause. The first winner we have is the award for the best safety message, and this is a person who's won 2 times in a row because she also won in 3rd grade. So the award for the best safety message, highlighting the dangers of snow machining near guide wires, goes to Grace Doucette, a 4th grader at K Beach Elementary. All right, and the award for the most creative safety message, integrating a beautiful array of colors, goes to Megan Bamey, a 3rd grader at Soldotna Elementary. And this is a very artistic family because they also were able to get the prize for the most humorous safety message, and that goes to Aspen Bamey, a 4th grader at Soldotna Elementary. All right, great job to all of our winners, and thank you guys so much for participating. Now we are going to talk about our youth rally program. And this is a leadership camp that happens over the summer in Nampa, Idaho at the Northwest Nazarene University. And this year's camp is scheduled for July 6th through 10th. And it's hosted by the Idaho Consumer-Owned Utilities and made possible through a partnership with the Alaska Power Association. And I believe we have Crystal here in attendance today. So thank you guys for your partnership in that. The participating co-ops this year from Alaska include Copper Valley Electric, Golden Valley Electric, and Homer Electric. And this year we received a variety of applications from talented students throughout our service area. And after interviewing all candidates and reviewing their applications, the Youth Rally Committee and a few volunteer employees selected 2 outstanding Kenai Peninsula representatives. And those representatives are Joshua Bowling and Afton Roberts. And I believe Afton is here today. If you can stand, we'll give you a round of applause. Awesome, and I get to chaperone that, so I'm really excited for that this year, so should be a lot of fun. And lastly, we would like to talk about our investment in education through our annual scholarship program for graduating seniors and adults continuing their education. So to clarify, the scholarship funding does not come from the rates that you pay for electricity. The scholarships are funded by interest earned on unclaimed capital credits, which are managed by the Alaska Rural Electric Cooperative Association. Our 2026 scholarships have 3 different focuses. We have the academic scholarship, which focuses on awarding students who have excelled academically and are interested in pursuing a college degree. We have the scholarship for the trades, which focuses on enabling students who are interested in attending a trade-focused program or school. And we have the returning student scholarship, and that is focused on those who are 2 or more years out of high school and looking to continue their education. This year, HEA is proud to award 14 scholarships in the amount of $2,000 each, which is significantly more than we have done in the past. So I want to give a shout out to the board because it makes a big difference in these individuals' lives. And we typically do $1,000, so $2,000 was a pleasant surprise for all these individuals. And the winners are divided among districts, and we allocate scholarship funds based on the number of applicants for each different scholarship type. So this year, we received over 35 applications, which made for some tough decisions for the scholarship committee, and it's now time to acknowledge those recipients. So if you are in attendance today, stand, and we'll do a round of applause for each district that I announce, because we've got 3 different districts. So from District 1, we have Alex Gist of Connections and Caitlin Esklin of Kenai Central High School, and they've been awarded the HEA Academic Scholarship. And Aaliyah Faulkner and Catalina Bravo Mo have been awarded the Returning Student Scholarship. From District 2, we have Brody Linton and Ethan Anding of Soldotna High School, as well as Sarah DeVold of Connections. They've been awarded the HEA Academic Scholarship. We also have Emily DePaulo and Isaac Earhart, who have been awarded the Returning Student Scholarship. And then lastly, from District 3, we have Clara Booz and Hannah Klima of Homer High School, and they have been awarded the HEA Academic Scholarship, as well as Jack Witten of Ninilchik High School and Patrick Meyer of Connections, who have been awarded the Scholarship for the Trades, and Layla Trium, who has been awarded the Scholarship for Returning Students. Just give a round of applause for all the winners. And again, I would just like to take a moment to recognize 4 of the directors who volunteered a lot of their time to go through all of these applications. And if you are here, please stand as I call your name. We have Secretary Treasurer Jim Duffield, Vice President Robert Wall, Director Aaron McKittrick, Director Jim Levine. So in conclusion, I just want to thank you all for your dedication to the program and welcome Dan back to the stage.
Thank you, Mary. That's one of the more rewarding tasks that the Board of Directors has is working with Mary to select scholarship winners. And speaking of winners, for the past several years, HEA has been able to give a $1,000 scholarship, and that money comes from unclaimed capital credits. These are capital credits that the staff works diligently to try to find folks and are able to find them. So that goes into a bucket, and the interest on that money that's in that bucket is used for scholarships. This year, consulting with our financial officer, Sarah Lamb, she allowed us, I guess I might say, or said it was kosher to double those scholarships. We're able to give, instead of $1,000 that we have in the past, we bumped it to $2,000, just using that interest that we've occurred. And I think that was quite a surprise to most of the scholarship participants, because when it started, it was only $1,000, and we just did that. This board did that last month. So big hand to the board for supporting our youth. One of the best parts of attending our annual meeting, besides everybody being here and visiting, is a chance to win an energy credit for your account. Now's the time that we're going to draw for a $50, a $100, a $150 energy credit prize drawing. We randomly select the winners from the attendance ticket stubs you received when you registered earlier this evening. If you hear your name called, congratulations. Your primary account will be credited with your prize amount during your next full billing cycle. Remember, you must be present to win. You hear that, my friend Sharon? Okay. I know she's here somewhere. Helping us with our first round of attendance drawing is someone who's no stranger to high stakes. She's led us through union negotiations, runs our HR department with heart, keeps the rest of HEA staff on track. When she's not leading us through tough talks or resolving workplace puzzles, she's making somebody's day with an attendance prize drawing. Please welcome our Chief Administrative Officer, Sherry Gower. Excuse me.
right, the first drawing is for a $50 attendance credit. Penny Bauer, member number 31120. The second one is for a $100 attendance credit.
$100 coming up if you didn't hear it.
And that goes to Connie Nelson, member number 72487. And the next one is for $150. And that one goes to Jim Grage, member number 7851.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you, Sherry. Next up is a review of Homer Electric Association financial report. And we're pleased to have Miss Amy Finnerty from Aldridge CPAs and Advisors, our assurance partners, will present the 2025 financial report. If you'd like to follow along, there's a printed copy of the financial statements in your meeting packet. Please, the page numbers are located at the bottom of each page, and Amy will be primarily referencing pages 9 and 11 during her presentation. Amy, there you are. It's all yours.
All right, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Okay, great. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. Again, my name is Amy Finnerty, and I'm a CPA with Aldrich CPAs and Advisors, and we are hired by and report to the Board of Directors of HEA for the audit of the financial statements. Tonight, we're reviewing the results of the audit for December 31st, 2025. We go. We'll talk through the audit opinion and what that means. We'll look at the financial results and provide a summary. For the year ending December 31st, 2025, HEA received an unmodified or clean opinion, which is the highest form of assurance you can receive, and that means that based on the audit procedures performed, you can rely on the information in the financial statements. Hopefully you can see those tiny numbers. First, we'll take a look at the balance sheet, which is like a picture of the financial position of HEA at a specific point in time. So we're going to compare December 31st of 2025 with prior years. We'll start with the assets. In 2025, the association invested almost $20 million in utility plant. Of that, $3.5 million was funded with grants or through contributions in aid of construction, which are reported netted together on the balance sheet. Depreciation expense for 2025 was $23 million, and so you can see that while the investment in plant was made, the depreciation expense causes a net decrease at the end of 2025 compared to 2024. Current assets increased at the end of 2025. This includes items such as cash and cash equivalents, accounts receivable, materials and supplies. And the increase at the end of 2025 was primarily related to cash generated from operations, as well as the timing of accounts receivable and unbilled revenues. Looking at liabilities and equity, total equity increased at the end of 2025 as a result of positive net margin generated from operations, less the capital credits paid to members during the year. Long-term debt decreased as the association made debt service payments, and Current assets increased at the end, current liabilities increased at the end of 2025 related to the timing of accounts payable, the current portion of long-term debt, and these fluctuate year to year based on timing, but an overall stable financial position of around $442 million at the end of 2025. Since those numbers were small, I like to throw in a few pictures. So this picture shows utility plant as a percentage of total assets, and you can see that it's consistently around the 88 to 89% range. And utility plant is important because these are the assets that generate revenues for the association and also ensure the ability to provide reliable power to the members. Another helpful tool is the current ratio, which measures current assets to current liabilities, and it shows that HEA is able to meet current obligations with current resources available. As you're probably aware, a unique feature of the association is that it is a cooperative that serves you, the members. Patronage capital increased in 2025 as a result of positive net margins, and the association retired around 3.8 million of capital credits to members in 2025. This picture represents the equity trend, and you can see it increased in 2025 as a result of those positive net margins. This picture shows us equity to total assets. The equity percentage is increasing as long-term debt is being paid down and margins are positive. Next, we'll take a look at operating results. You can see that revenues increased by around 7.5% during 2025. However, the cost of fuel increased around 10.8%. causing those expenses to also increase, while interest expense remained relatively flat among the years, bringing us to a net margin of around 4.4 million for overall positive operating results at December 31st, 2025. These numbers are also tiny, but it's a breakdown of operating expense by type. The most significant component, as you would expect, is the cost of fuel, which has the biggest impact on net margin and cash flow. But otherwise, the elements of the expense category by type were relatively stable, with depreciation expense increasing slightly in 2025 based on that investment in utility plant. Next, we have our statement of cash flows, and this shows how cash is generated and where it's used. Cash generated from operations was around 27 million in 2025, and this was used to invest in utility plant, as we talked about when looking at the balance sheet. And then it was also used to make those debt service payments of around 7.7 million, as well as pay capital credits to members, for an overall positive change in cash from 2024 to 2025. In summary, net margin was a positive 4.4 million. There's working capital on hand and available. The co-op was able to invest 20 million in utility plant, as well as pay capital credits to members and have positive cash flow from operations. So an overall stable financial position. All right, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I think this one was mine, but I'm not sure.
This one's mine, yep. Thank you, Amy. And the rest of Aldrich CPA's team for the detailed and comprehensive review of our financial standings. We truly appreciate the expertise and clarity that you bring to our financial reporting process. If anyone has any questions regarding the financial statement that you just viewed, you can contact Sarah Lamb, who is in the audience. Sarah, raise your hand. She's right here. And she'd be glad to answer your questions anytime. And if you miss her, let me know and I'll give you her personal cell number. You can call her. So this is the second or third I think third time I've done this presentation, and there's always a little glitch here and there. And I did forget to recognize a couple people in the audience, and I got to do that right now, or I'll be in big trouble when I get home. And that's my wife Claudia of nearly 50 years sitting there, and next to her is my granddaughter Josie. And one other person I want to recognize is Crystal Engvis from the Alaska Power Association. Flew all the way down here to join our meeting. She is the executive administrator of the Alaska Power Association, and she's a wonderful person, does a great job for all the utilities, and she really looks out for Homer Electric, I know. So, thank you, Crystal. It's time for more attendance drawings, I think. Yes, I'm gonna get back on the right page here. It's time for more attendance drawings, and again, Sharon, wherever you are, you must be present to win. Helping us with the next round of drawings is the man responsible for keeping the power flowing, literally. He oversees all of HEA's generation assets, from natural gas to hydropower, including the mighty Bradley Lake. When he's not coaxing megawatts out of turbines or talking to us about generators with more passion than most people reserve for their children, he's reminding us that yes, power plants are exciting. Please welcome Mr. Larry Jorgensen.
I'll give you my work one.
So the first one's 200.
Okay.
$200 and $250 coming up.
Okay. So for $200, Sterling Rasmussen. Is he here? Okay.
Are they here, Sydney?
Maybe.
Repeat the name one more time.
Sterling Rasmussen.
She said maybe you went to the bathroom.
Sterling, are you here?
Maybe you went to the restroom.
Okay. Cue the Jeopardy music. So,
Okay, let's set that one aside for a minute and draw the other one in. Are we, draw again? Okay.
all right.
Stop.
Snooze, you lose. So. All right. 200 again. Laura Burke. She here?
Yep, she's here.
Ah, there we are. Okay.
Right there. Congratulations.
Okay.
$250 next.
Okay. All right, $250 energy credit. James Harpring. There we are. Okay.
Oh,
There we go.
yeah. Good deal. Thank you, Larry. Good job. At this time, I'd like to bring... Marvin, was that you? At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Brad Janorski, Homer Electric CEO, to the stage to present his address to the members. Brad, there you go.
Can you guys hear me okay? I'm looking at the back. I know in the front they can hear me. Claudia, thank you. Can you guys hear me in the back okay? Okay, thanks. Good evening. Welcome to HEA's annual meeting, and greatly appreciate all you coming tonight. I don't know if it's raining or sunny out, but the way the weather's going, I think it's going to wash out this weekend, is from what I heard. So I got a quick presentation. Don't look at me like that, Jennifer. I know it's going to rain. That's right, I got a clicker right here. So none of this would be possible for the staff that did such a great job putting this together. So if you're part of the HEA staff or helped in any way putting this together tonight, please stand up. Come on, I know you guys aren't shy. Thank you. They do a great job. And quick personal story. Last weekend, I went back to the Midwest to a funeral. And it was hard. It was a close friend of mine that I grew up with. Actually, I knew him since 5th grade. We played instruments together. We sang together. We were actually roommates in college. And he married the neighbor girl, his high school sweetheart, that I grew up with since kindergarten. And afterwards, it was, as you can imagine, a sad ceremony. And afterwards, I spent 45 minutes with a lot of my classmates from high school. Many of them I hadn't seen for 40 years. And I walked out of there after 45 minutes going, what a wonderful group of people. Trying to keep a wild teenager between the lines. Thanks to these people, they did it. And I stayed out of trouble for the most part. So with that, I reflected upon that coming home, and each and every day I get a staff that does the same thing for me that my classmates did back in high school. So if those folks can please stand up, I'd appreciate it. That includes you, Jennifer, and all of you people in black over there. They do a great job helping me and helping all of you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I am not exaggerating. So, okay. So with that, I just want to touch base on that for a second. And short agenda. In fact, when I was putting the agenda together, I was thinking of, hey, I got an idea. How about it's like sitting in your vehicle, your rear view mirror is very small, and which looks at your history, where you've been, and your big windshield is great for telling you where you're going and where you are. So we kind of laid this out this way with the help of Jennifer, thank you, that we'll spend a little time on history, but not much. I'll fly through it pretty quick. And before I keep going, hold your questions to the end so I get through this. And you can either ask me after we get done or after the meeting. I'll be around. In addition, there's Becky. Where's Cindy? Cindy and Becky. They're going to watch all of you because somewhere in this presentation I have a typo. It killed Jennifer to have the typo put in. So if you see a typo and you're the first one to raise your hand, and I'll let these two judge because the light's in my eyes. If you're the first one to raise your hand, you get a $100 gift card from Alaska Power Association. Thank you, Crystal, wherever you are. So there you are, way back there. So watch for the typo, and we'll get rolling. So where we've been, very briefly, I'm going to fly through this. HEA was founded in December of 1945. The following year, we got a small 75 kW generator, and as luck would have it, the generator, it fell off. I assume it was whatever they were using to load it up, a forklift. Fell off and broke out on the end of the chain, Cold Bay. So they found another one. It was a government surplus, flew it to Homer, installed it, and this picture from 47, you can recognize Homer back then, Bishop's Beach. And then in 54, we got a few more generators installed down in Homer, which today I think we call our Waddell property. Fast forward, in 1964, we bought the utility on the south side of Kachemak Bay from, I think it was called Solovia City Lights, Solovia Electric System. Thank you, Jennifer. Back in 64, and in 69, that system was extended to Halibut Cove. One of the interesting notes over there is they were still in diesel generation. It wasn't until 71 that we installed an undersea cable off the end of the spit over to McEwen Flats. And South Kachemak Bay got connected to the grid. That is the same cable that was replaced in 2001. So if you're doing your math in your head, you're going, okay, that cable is due to get replaced sometime in the next decade. And as you can imagine, it's not cheap today. So here's a photo from 1974 when they first put that cable in. And then in 71 is when Homer Electric bought Kenai City Lights. Increased our membership and meters by about 25%. And it's the first time HEA served, as they do today, Nikiski to Sterling, all the way down to Homer, Saloia, Port Graham, and Wallach. So a little bit of history. And so that covers the rearview mirror. Where we are today. Interesting story. I saw my dad last week. Oh, hold your questions to the end. Oh. Okay, where is that? Oh, battery storage. Okay, you're right. You're right. Who's that? Who got it first? Okay, Becky, you pick one. Good thing we got two of them because that's not the one I was looking for. My bad. I should have caught it, but I didn't. So, okay. Yeah, whoever sat up closest. And we did have two of them, by the way, and I was going to tell you that. So the one that I planned on, if there's a tie, you guys can, I don't know, draw straws or whatever. So we went from 13 members when we were organized back in December 45 to over 37,000 today. Quite growth. Interesting side note, last week when I stopped in to see my folks, my dad goes, "Brad, what do you think of AI?" And I don't think he knew it meant artificial intelligence. I think he just knew it as AI. And like most dads, he gave me his opinion before he got an answer. He said, "I think AI is bad because of all the jobs that are going to be lost, and what are those poor workers going to do?" I paused for a little bit, gave it some thought, and said, "Dad, I don't know if AI is good or bad, but I'm sure this is the same conversation they had amongst blacksmiths and horseshoe folks when Henry Ford came up with the Model T." So I left it at that. I figured I needed a bed sleeping that night anyway. So we have grown significantly, and computers are a big factor in our business. As you can see, in fact, I talked to one of our members a couple years ago. She had no clue that HEA owns fiber. So now I'm going to tell you straight up. We own about 3,600 miles of strands, and where our radios and our fiber doesn't reach, we use the satellites, i.e. South Kashmir Bay. It's tough to get service over there. All of our systems are computerized, and you could see up from the numbers I got up there, we've got a lot of computers and a lot of data. In fact, a lot of automation. Along with automation and computers, and you guys are probably exposed to fraud, is computer hackers. So we get people trying to hack into our system all the time. We peaked out at 8.5 million attempts in 1 week. Let that sit in for a second. So in addition to those 8.5 million, we do have monthly meetings with other utilities in Alaska and the federal government so that we can share information and hopefully protect ourselves better each and every day. So you can see the cyber attacks up and down. A lot of it's dependent on what's happening in the global political environment. And the big drop in 24, anybody got a guess? We took from one of the search engines, we removed Homer Simpson. And when we took Homer Simpson out of the equation, we had a big drop. But we do focus a lot on education, and we tighten up. In fact, even our board of directors gets training annually, and we give them random emails to see if they click on stuff that they shouldn't. And we got a great board. They do it well. And the last time we did it and somebody clicked, I think they confessed right there. It was me. So you can see it's had a big thing. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. So back to today, January 1st, the rates go up or down? How many of you think they went up? Just one? Two? Okay, a couple. How many of you think it went down? About the same number. You guys aren't very participatory tonight. So you're both right. All of you are right. They went up and down. Our base rates went up a little bit, about 4% January 1st, which is, it is what it is. Since 2020, it went up a total of 10.5%, our base rates. Our base rates are used to pay our mortgages, our insurance, our operation and maintenance, all the generation, transmission, poles and wires. That went up since 2020, went up 10.5%. U.S. average inflation has gone up 20%, so about double what our base rates have. The COPA dropped down. Anybody know what dropped the COPA down January 1st? I'll get to it in a couple slides. I'm not going to tell you right now. So I know what some of you are thinking anyway. Okay, Brad said the net is rates went down. Why was my bill higher in January? Am I wrong? Cold has a big factor to do with it. Cold and wind. Always look, in addition to your rates, look at your usage. As you can see here, this graph, historically, that's our sales per month over the last 4 or 5 years. You can see it's pretty consistent. Notice the outliers. Last December, that red line way up on top on the far right. And then this January, you can see the yellow on the far left. And again in March, see the big spike? What they all have in common? It was cold and kind of breezy this winter. So your usage probably went up on average. So that will drive your bill. But rates went down. Now you can see our mix is, and many of you have heard me say this before, about 10% hydro, 90% natural gas. Natural gas is a key component of the bill. When I mentioned the COPA earlier, and I'll talk about it in a second, most of that is natural gas. It doesn't pay for anything except the gas. And as you can see, the hydropower, you'll see numbers in the 10 to 12% range. They're both right. Bradley's been pretty consistent how much energy it produces annually. But any growth or extreme cold like we had this last winter, we use natural gas to meet those needs. And you can see inflation adjusted base rates on the bottom, that brown, have been relatively stable since over recent history. And you can see the COPA's kind of up and down, the cost of power adjustment. The reason that COPA went down in January 1st is we were drawing and plan to draw hard on Bradley Lake. Bradley Lake is about all in 1/3 the price of natural gas-fired generation. So hydroelectric is really good. The problem is there's a shortage of it. I wish there was more. Your rates would be probably 10 cents lower if we had all hydro and no natural gas. So you can see after January, the COPA went down, but then it went up a little bit. And I'll talk about the future in a second. But while this graph is here, I would not be surprised in the future, in the next 5-6 years, you don't see that 30 cents, when you add them together, become 35. So I do expect them to go up. Eventually, they'll come back down again, but I do think they'll go up, and I'll talk about why in a second. So where are we going? I already talked about our high dependence on natural gas, 90%. All of our dependence on natural gas doesn't make me nervous. What makes me nervous is we have a very limited number of suppliers of natural gas on the Kenai Peninsula. So one thing we're going to do is when we burn gas, we're going to burn it more efficiently. As you remember, back in 2013, in the summer of 13, we put in a steam turbine. We got an extra 18 megawatts with no additional gas fuel burn, which was about a 40% increase in output. We're going to replace the combustion turbine and generator in the summer of 28. It's that much of a lead time. And you can see we're going to use 19% less fuel for the same production. So we're pretty excited about that. But we're also trying to figure out, and I'll get to in a second, how to avoid gas. And like I said, 90% of all of our electricity comes from natural gas. So you got to pay attention. And I broke it into 3 terms: short, medium, and long term. And short term, and this is in Brad's world, so you're not going to find it in the paper. I said, okay, what's going to happen in the next 1 to 3 years? The cheapest gas we can get in the next 3 years is from Cook Inlet. So either from existing or new wells, that will give us the cheapest gas. Medium term, 4 to 10 years, importing LNG. As I mentioned last year, importing LNG is not an option. We will import LNG, period. There are 3 options being evaluated, and all those 3 options have given public presentations to the Regulatory Commission of Alaska. So it's harvest using the old ConocoPhillips export facility. There's Cook Inlet LNG, which is proposing to use the Osprey platform near the West Forelands and import gas and offload it there. And then there's also the Glen Farm model that NSTAR's been hooked to that is proposing on importing LNG into the Nikiski area. So, and then long term, you can see I've got pipeline, liquid natural gas importing, that's going above. SMRs, I put SMRs up there. I think they're going to be in our future. It may be 2 decades away, but I think small modular reactors are going to be in our future. And diversification, renewables and storage. So in addition to trying to use natural gas more efficiently, we're looking at other resources that don't use natural gas for generation. And I've got this table up here. Battery energy storage system, some of you may have heard earlier. We've got the state's largest battery system right today over in Soldotna. And we are thinking, thanks to some federal grant funding, of adding some additional units to that facility or nearby. Solar, we're working with a developer on solar project on a large-scale solar. Tidal, we've been working with a company for about a decade now. They finally got a huge, I got to pick my words carefully. They got potentially a very large award from the federal government. It is a material-sized project. It is scheduled or anticipated to hook up to our system. I can't say anything more because they said, you know, the agency has been very tight-lipped until they get all the negotiations done. So watch our newsletter. We'll have more information on that here shortly. Hydro, you can see the 3 examples. The value of hydro, as I mentioned earlier, Bradley Lake, it's 1/3 the price of natural gas-fired generation. It's amazing. So Dixon Diversion, that's a state project. They're trying to amend the Bradley Lake license so that they can take some of the runoff from the Dixon Glacier and put it in Bradley Lake, i.e. add more fuel. It will increase annual energy production between 30 and 50%. It's a big deal. And it's still cheaper than just the fuel for natural gas-fired generation. So it's worth looking into. Susitna-Watana, a lot of my peers are going, and I agree with them. We got to look at everything. Natural gas prices are going through the roof. We got to do something. So we're looking at that project. I don't know if it's good or bad, and nobody can tell you whether it's good or bad because the studies haven't been completed. So, and then Grant Lake, we got a FERC license for Grant Lake, small project just to the east of Moose Pass, over on the other side of the peninsula. It is a great project. I wish it was bigger. It is very, very expensive. So we got a license for it, which is took us 11 years to get a license for that little project. And today, we can't get it to economically pencil out unless we get some federal assistance. So the unfortunate thing is most of these options, they take lots of time. They don't happen overnight, and sometimes it's frustrating. And then lastly, geothermal. We completed 2 studies with the aid of some state grants, how to interconnect 2 different possible geothermal resources, and we are working on that today. So I'm hoping we have a big announcement here later this year, probably in time for our area meetings this fall. Jim, you'll like that one. You're a huge advocate. So what keeps me up at night? I'm almost done, guys. 2 primary things: wildfires, which I talked about last year at the annual meeting. Wildfires are nothing new to any of us, and we have watched the devastation of wildfires in the lower 48. So, and we've seen some in Alaska, and it's something that we got some state grants. Some of those grants are running to the borough. We're very, I'll say, assertive in our right-of-ways. But a lot of the outages that are caused, they're from trees outside the right-of-way, and we need owner's permission. So fortunately last year, knock on wood, we've had 0 members turn us down for cutting down what we call a hazard tree or vegetation outside the right-of-way that has the potential of falling on our facilities. So with that, trained labor pool. Any employer, lower 48 in Alaska, will tell you it is getting more and more difficult to find skilled labor. I said our industry is becoming more and more dependent on computers. It was interesting. I was in the schools a couple of years ago, and one of the things one of my coworkers and I said is, have you guys thought about HEA? And we found, we can find skilled workers lower 48. They come up here, and 5 years later, they go back home. So it's easy for us if we find local people that are trained and skilled and bring them on board, because it's just one less reason for them to leave. We were amazed at the response we got from, back then it was high school students. No, we don't want to be line workers, so we never even thought about HEA. It's like, hold it. 3/4 of our jobs are not line workers, and they do a great job, but it is unique. It's a tough job, but we need accountants, computer people, marketing people. We need lots of folks. And skilled labor is tough to come by, and you can ask any employer. They'll tell you the same thing. So with that, last year, my last slide in memoriam, last year, some of you that were here remember we introduced Patrick O'Gwen. Patrick has been probably our biggest HEA advocate between last year's annual meeting and this one. He passed away from cancer, unfortunately, way too young, but I thought it would be of value to put his picture up there and recognize him once again. So he was our biggest cheerleader. With that, any questions on my presentation? I know there's a new business coming up as well. And if you don't ask it in public, I'll be around afterwards. Yes, sir. If you can come to the mic, please. That way everybody can hear you. Oh, there I can see Alex. That's okay. No.
Lights on. Hello. Alex from Kenais. Oh, ready? I know, it's going to be way less than that.
the rule. I always tell them that if you have something really good to say about the board of directors, then you get a few more minutes. So, go ahead.
Alex from Kenai. So you probably heard that Instar is looking at a potential $42 million investment of storing natural gas under some old depleted wells underneath the Kenai Airport, kind of like how they have the project on bridge access in Beaver Loop. If that happens, would you guys be negotiating of having access to that storage facility during the winter when there's peak hours instead of in the summer? That's it.
That's a great question, Alex. Did everybody hear the question? Alex's question was, would we participate in that storage that NSTAR is proposing over in Kenai between really our HEA facility and the airport? And the answer is yes. NSTAR is currently our fuel supplier, so all of our fuel comes from NSTAR. And like I had talked about the BESS earlier, for electric, we got to get something to store the molecules as well, i.e. gas molecules. So NSTAR is working on that. They have notified us, and I haven't talked to them since, this morning. So it's, since they've got us covered at least through 2032, they're going to have to use it. We're going to need more storage, especially when we start importing. So, any other questions on my presentation? Okay, thanks, Alex. No questions? Turn it over to you, Mr. President.
Very good. The next on our agenda is new business. Under Robert's Rules of Orders, unless a special rule is adopted, each member would normally have 3 minutes to speak. However, would have 10 minutes to speak. However, past annual meetings and to save time, a special rule has been adopted to limit speaking to 3 minutes per member. To continue that practice, may I hear a motion to limit member speaking time to 3 minutes? I have a motion. And do I have a second? Second. All those in favor, please raise your orange voter card. Any opposed, do the same sign, please. That motion is adopted. Now, each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes, and we'll be using that light system down here. The green light is when you begin speaking. The yellow light is when you have 30 seconds remaining, and the red light is when your time is up. So if anybody has any comments that they would like to make or make any questions, I guess, you're welcome to walk up to the speaker and identify yourself and your member number. Last chance. Okay. That'll bring us to tab 11. It's almost over here, folks. Now, for what many people have been waiting for, it's time to draw the largest attendance credit prizes. First, we're going to draw a $500 energy credit, and then for 1 year of free electricity up to 10,000 kilowatt hours. And you must be, Sharon, you must be present to win, so don't leave. Helping us with this one is someone who keeps our budgets balanced, our books spotless, and our spending in check. When she's not forecasting costs, managing audits, or reminding staff that miscellaneous is not a budget category, she's here making one lucky member very happy. Please welcome our Chief Financial Officer, Shara Lamb. Shara? $500.
And the winner of the $500 prize is Faith Lutheran. 50215.
Right there, good. This is a year's supply of energy coming up next.
And the winner of the 10,000 kilowatt hours is Doug Boney. Congratulations.
Right there. Congratulations. Before we get to the election results, I have just a quick few announcements. If you haven't already, please drop your completed annual meeting survey into the designated bin just outside the theater. Be sure to include your name and phone number to be entered into a drawing for $500 cash. In accordance with our bylaws, our regular meeting must take place immediately after the conclusion of our annual meeting. I would ask that all current board members please report to the green room right after this meeting. To view this year's annual report, simply scan the QR code on your agenda using your smartphone camera. This will take you directly to the report on our website. And finally, don't forget to follow Home Electric on social media to stay up to date on news and future events. Now the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time to announce the results of the 2026 Board of Directors election. As a reminder, if you'd like to follow along, the report of election results is located on the last page of your meeting packet. And joining me on stage to report this year's election results is our COO, Mr. Rob Montgomery. There you are, coming out of the dark.
Behind you, sorry. No, not a problem. Thank you. As Dan said, it is time for us to go over the 2026 Board of Directors election results. This year's election was conducted in partnership with our professional election vendor, specializing in secure and transparent cooperative elections. Their support allowed us to provide these real-time certified results immediately following the close of voting. On behalf of HEA, I want to thank the candidates for their willingness to serve our cooperative, and also thank our members for participating in this very important process. If you'd like to follow along, please refer to the report of election results on page 12 of your meeting packet. Now for the results. District 1, Jim Duffield, 520 votes. Patrick Parker, 488 votes. District 2, Dan Green, 723 votes. Mitch Michaud, 477 votes. And in District 3, Peter Krimp with 1,048 votes and Bob Day with 602 votes. With these results now counted and final, this concludes the reporting of the 2026 election. Dan?
Thank you, Rob.
Yep.
Thank you, Rob. How to hand for all these folks that ran and the ones that got elected. So thank you very much. And for the last piece of business, may I have a motion to adjourn this annual meeting of HEA Corporation? Motion. Very good. This meeting is adjourned. Board members will report to the green room over here for a quick board meeting. Thank you for the candidates that ran and weren't successful. It's a great opportunity for members to participate and keep up the efforts, everybody. Thank you.